What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 50 of the Block Exploring podcast. It's a big one, guys. It's our 50th episode, big anniversary. And with me to celebrate, of course,
Yes,
is Tommy, as
50
always.
episodes, man. Kind of crazy.
Yes, yeah, I remember the first one like it's yesterday, so it's
What's
pretty
it been
wild.
like? 8 months?
Now, 8 months of just recording in and out and talking about crypto, doing whatever. I think the first episode we recorded, I don't know even.
It
It
was
was like
also
halfway
almost
through
an
last
hour
year.
long, I remember.
Yeah, it was an hour long,
Yeah.
fully unedited. It's great.
Yeah.
But here we are now. And yeah, thanks you guys for sticking with us and tuning in and interacting with us on Twitter. It's been really nice. It's been a very nice journey with you guys. And yeah, let's get straight into it. Um, I think in this episode, we're going to talk to you about the Bank of Russia, the Central Bank of Russia, wanting a full blown Bitcoin ban, the bearishness in the market. We're going to talk about the crash in Bitcoin price, and we're going to talk about Mr. Kramer, who's going to tell you that Dogecoin is a security, which is also a bit of, wildness in the crypto markets that was unforeseen, I guess. So, yeah, with that being said, let's hop into the state of the market. But before we do that, I just want to give you guys a quick disclaimer that none of the things we say in this episode or on the Blocking Sparring podcast in general are financial advice. So, do your own research. Now, quickly going over the short term action, the 7 day charts. I'd say Bitcoin down about 10% on 7 day basis, down to like $39,000. Ethereum is down to 2.5k in euros. I don't know why I said the euro on this one. It's probably because it's up on my screen. BNB, everything is down about 10%. XRP is down 10%. Solana is down more. It's down 20%. And yeah, a bunch of these coins are down around 5 to 20%. Uh, yeah, that's kind of the state of the market. Short term bearish, but as Tommy and I said before this episode, we are long
hmm
term bulls. So yeah, it's yeah, I would say like the past few weeks have been very bearish if you've been in crypto. But yeah, let's see why, and let's see what's going on in the markets. So,
Yes.
Tommy, Bitcoin crashed
Yeah, crash,
again.
dip, whichever you want to call it. Bitcoin's falling up to 11%, and it's moving towards a 6 month low, actually. So that's a very peak if you're a Bitcoin holder, which most crypto uh, holders are. And there are probably a lot of reasons for it. Like Elias just described, the market generally seems to be short-term bearish. It's just been a lot of black swan events that have occurred, particularly hitting Bitcoin. Like earlier in the month, all the events that unfolded in Kazakhstan also led to a drop in Bitcoin's hash rate. And I think we've seen the same thing happen here with Russia, potentially. Well, quite literally. The Bank of Russia on Thursday issued a report calling for a total ban of cryptocurrencies. And while in Russia, cryptocurrency payments were banned in 2020, the central bank, even has now flouted a ban of cryptocurrencies as a whole, and they're calling for the immediate halt of Bitcoin mining in the country, citing environmental concerns. Which, yeah, I mean, Russia provides over 10% of the computing power of the Bitcoin network. So just such an announcement would, I think, correlate to a big hit to Bitcoin price. I mean, if we just follow what happened in Kazakhstan.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's interesting how environmental concerns are always the reasoning behind Bitcoin needing to be halted or miners needing to be moved out of the country. Um, because like there was this chart that compared the how green all these countries are with their own energy winning and their own electricity use versus how green Bitcoin is. And Bitcoin, even though the comparison isn't completely fair, I would say, because Bitcoin is just one currency and a country is thousands of industries, right? I think it's still interesting to see how Bitcoin is more than 50% green, and all these countries are like 30% or 40%. They don't really get there, you know, it doesn't really compete. So for me personally, whenever I hear environmental concerns being the main reason why currencies like Bitcoin need to be moved out of the country, it's just a polite way of saying we don't like Bitcoin
Hmm.
competing with our currency,
Yeah,
so get it out of
I
here, right?
compared to how last episode we were describing how some are framing, DeFi, crypto, and all that as, a gambler's playground. These are all just tools for gambling, highly risky, gamified, trading and such. As just negative terms to attribute to this industry in order to push regulation as they see fit. That might be in their best interest as opposed to the interests of the crypto industry, which is highly disruptive, and you know some people will lose from the adoption of Bitcoin. They're incumbents of which this industry is trying to shake out. Um, Purely by removing middlemen in most cases. But yeah, so I think it's just a lot of FUD, and the environmental FUD is particularly penetrative because environmental concerns are highly justified in today's world, and it's just a very easy way to get a lot of people against something if you try to label it as being negative for the environment, and when I talk to people
Hmm.
who
That's very true.
actively are against cryptos or blockchain technology due to the environmental FUD, that's usually where their knowledge of these issues actually ends. um when you start
Yeah,
talking to them about
they
proof of
hear it once,
stake, for
it
example,
sticks.
they don't know about this,
Yeah,
in my experience.
yeah, they just think, yeah, exactly. No, that's true. That's true. If I also talk to people
Mhm,
who are like no coiners, people who are a bit outside of the space, who just hear for who cryptocurrencies is not something
mhm,
say they interact with, but it's something they hear about on the news, like,
mhm,
oh, some wacky stuff happened with crypto again. They will tell you, well, it's not green, it's not good, I don't
mhm.
like it, not a fan. That's as far as the news also reports on it, at least the mainstream news. um, I think it's interesting because a while ago I was talking to some people, and as you might know, a lot of Islamic countries right now are deciding, is Bitcoin, what is the word? I don't want to be culturally insensitive. I think it's halal, right? It's
Haram.
is it acceptable?
Or
So
haram.
haram, yeah,
Oh
sorry.
boy,
Is it haram?
is something that's not allowed.
But
From my understanding.
yeah, so oh yeah, like whether it is halal or haram, right? So halal is acceptable and
Mm,
haram is not acceptable. And there's like in Indonesia they've ruled it haram, but there are some countries that say, oh, it's halal. And a lot of this stuff is considered religious considerations, charging interest, is the currency physical or not, that kind of stuff. And I think those concerns are more valid than the environmental concerns that we've
yeah.
been hearing about, because one is a religious freedom and the other one is factually incorrect to a large degree, because I think you can motivate currencies to move to like a proof of stake model. You can't really do that with Bitcoin, but a lot of these cryptocurrencies, they have dev teams that you say, hey guys, we will subsidize development of cryptocurrencies that use proof of stake. There's a lot of ways to actually deal with this and move with it, but rather than doing that and supporting this industry and
Mhm.
supporting the innovation that blockchain is and crypto is, a lot of countries just see it as competition with their own currency and say, no, we're gonna, treat it like gambling so that we tax it heavily, or we just ban it altogether. And I think what that also does is you have countries like the USA, right, who don't really ban it, they just want to kind of tax it. and it pushes a lot of people to move to these kind of countries with the mining. And I think that in a way that also causes more centralization, because you will have these like minor migrations, right? Like we saw with China when
Hmm.
everyone had to move out of there, and like we might see with Russia, so that they just move to the countries where energy prices are low or where
Yeah, I think we've
regulation is
we've
okay,
discussed this
and then you get
before,
these
where it's if
hotspots.
by banning Bitcoin, you are in effect banning yourself, because it's kind of the same
Hmm.
logic where you know, a big company looks for tax breaks when they want to build some like an office or build a new headquarters and such. They want those tax breaks. They want those incentives to actually move into an area. And you know, if that place isn't going to offer them the tax breaks that they want, they're going to find it somewhere else. Much like
Hmm.
Bitcoin miners, if they're not going to be able to mine in this jurisdiction, they'll move. We saw it with China. They people
Yeah,
Bitcoin miners in China moved so quickly to Texas. It's not even funny. Like, the price reflection is
yeah, yeah.
often delayed with these things. Like, the price drop is very quick when hash rate drops, but it's often a quick recovery with, you know, when, because changing where your location is for these miners is very easy.
That's true. That's true. And but I think what I think it was like somewhere in the 20s, episode 20 somewhere, where we were talking about how cryptocurrency needs a bigger lobby, right? And I think that if you see these governmental attitudes to crypto, there's clearly a lobby against crypto that's going on, right? That's these larger companies who are like institutions with deep pockets that have a big lobby going on within governments. And I think that's also a part of the reason why the narrative against cryptocurrency in a mainstream setting is so negative, because what we see is, oh, it's just the harsh environmental considerations and a lot of this disproportional stuff that a lot of governments are kind of pushing as being the
Mhm.
reason why you shouldn't use crypto. Whereas I think that if we would have a lobby pro crypto that gives you all the arguments from the other side to kind of counterbalance it, a lot of these lobbies within countries will be kind of stumped because there will be a
Mhm.
counter force. And that's what I'm hoping for. And I think that's what the space needs more than anything. It's lobbyists that move against this. And I think it's lobbyists that move for lighter regulation, separating it from gambling. And I think it's a lot of this stuff that we see, just a counter movement against this anti crypto
Yeah.
lobby that we see going on for the past few
I
months.
think it does exist. It's just, I think it's they're less court. I think they have because the capital is there to actually have a like a very powerful lobby that's pro crypto.
Hmm.
I just don't think at the moment they're as coordinated as can be
Yeah,
most effective, and they also have to do the double the work of also helping support
yeah.
candidates to remove these incumbents who are anti crypto to begin with, because a lot
Hmm.
of Congress in America at least is not very for the idea, or they actually are not educated on it. But yeah, so I've seen a few videos, interviews with pro
Yeah,
crypto lobbyists and what they're trying to do. But yeah, ultimately, if a crypto user is in a democratic country, they're able to vote for their representatives. They should vote with their, for candidates who are pro crypto, who align with their, you know. Apparently, many people in America are becoming one issue voters, and that issue happens to be crypto. So we might see a shift coming, but let's see.
yeah. Yeah, because if you look at this, there was a survey that was
Hmm.
done, right, in Canada. Like, they just asked,
Right.
how do you want to be paid, right? Like, in what currency do you want to be paid? The Canadian dollar was only something that like 48%, or no, not even 38% of people wanted. There was 62% of people voted that they would like to be paid in
Got him.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, it is wild.
Isn't that wild?
I mean, New York's mayor just converted
Yeah.
his whole first paycheck into Bitcoin and Ethereum. At first, I thought he was only going to do Bitcoin, but he got some Ethereum in there, so I think he's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, but it's a bit wild to see all of this go on and see kind of how governments and a lot of these mainstream news sources just misrepresent facts with an agenda of their own, and it's a bit unfortunate to see, and especially with so many people potentially gaining a lot of income and a lot of these like third world countries, especially Africa. Like if you look at the project Cardano Africa, right, you see that a lot of these inequalities can be stumped
Hmm.
with cryptocurrencies and development on these protocols. So I think it's very unfortunate to see it being stumped. But what I think is more unfortunate is when people are just blatantly misinformed, and I think that's something we saw with Mr. Kramer,
Big
CNBC's
yikes.
Kramer. Uh, yeah, saying that Dogecoin was a security, and I think that's pretty interesting because like it when I heard it, when I saw it, I don't know. I
Hmm.
was just so confused because it isn't right. Like Dogecoin is kind of a copy of the
Yeah, and
protocol
they
of
might have
Bitcoin,
changed a
right?
few things, or actually they might not have changed anything. I think they have. I think they have changed something. I don't know what the nitty gritty of it, but I would argue it's not a security. Kramer.
Yeah, but and I like how but a lot of I am saying at least what I'm thinking is a lot of older people will see that and be like, yeah, okay, it's a
Yeah.
security, not gonna touch it, right? And that is how far as it goes. So it's very unfortunate to see full on misinformation being spread, and I think that's also on the other side of whenever we say
Hmm.
do your own research, right? We also mean go beyond
Right.
the misinformation, go beyond like the very biased information that you get at face value when you dig into crypto, because I would say that whenever I got into crypto or investing in crypto especially, um, the majority of the sentiment that I found online and the people that I knew told me was just don't do it, it's dangerous. And I think sure there are risks and you can lose more than with stocks that fall under
I don't
securities
even know,
protection,
bro.
but
I don't.
do your own
I
research.
honestly, genuinely
Well,
think the volatility of both is comparable at the moment.
yeah, but if something goes if
Oh,
something
fair.
illegal happens with a stock that
Yeah,
falls under security protection, there will be
sure.
retribution and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
will get
that's
a
fair.
recuperability, right? And that's not the case yet with crypto, unfortunately. And I'm also saying yet
Hmm.
because it's definitely one of the developments that I hope to see in the future. But yeah, do your own research and go further than just the face value. And I think a good place to do that is on the Block Exploring podcast. So I think with all of this being said, thank you guys for tuning in for 50 episodes straight. Thank you guys for sticking with us, and we hope to see you guys for the next 50 episodes, but especially for the next one, which will be out on Thursday. So take care, keep pushing through this dip or through the crash,
Take it easy.
and we'll see you soon. Peace.